1. Well, hello. Hello there. Welcome to the Star Wars Report YouTube page. This is the video portion intro, just saying hello to you, the folks watching on YouTube. I'm going to start my podcast recorder version right now. So now we have the podcast recording. We got the video folks recording. We got the folks who are listening live at starsreport.com/live. I'm going to get ready and hit the music. It is the Star Wars Report podcast. It's a little like returning to an old friend because I've been with someone else for the last week. Hey, it's Riley Blanton. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're recapping the week's news. We're talking George Lucas. We're talking all things Star Wars. On this, the Star Wars Report podcast, we're starting right now.
Falcon flight with destiny, headlong into the fight. Birds of a feather, well weathered together, chasing the dark from the night. Falcon flight with destiny, headlong into the fight. Birds of a feather, well weathered together, chasing the dark from the night. Falcon flight with destiny.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Star Wars Report podcast. I am your host, Riley Blanton. We're talking pentatonics. We're talking Sabine and Star Wars Rebels. We're talking all kinds of craziness here on the Star Wars Report. I'd like to welcome to the program my good friend and yours. He is a man about town. He is a podcaster extraordinaire. He's the weekly co-host of me here. By the way, I'm Riley Blanton. He is Mr. Mark James Thaddeus Hurleman.
Nice
Got it
Star
right?
Trek reference there, or close to.
Close. It started. It was close. Well,
Hey, everybody.
I was going to say, does
Good to
Kirk
be here.
have-
Yeah,
does
as I
Kirk
forget
have
to
an-
actually say hello.
I was going to say Thaddeus James Tiberius Hurleman. Welcome to the Star Wars Report podcast. If you're a fan of that galaxy far, far away, you have come to the right place. It is a Friday evening as we record this. It is October. It is November. I'm getting my months wrong, Mark. 27th, 2015. A mere 20 days. Or is it 21? It's 20 or 1 or 20 until The Force Awakens hits.
Yeah, like 3 weeks, man. Woo!
Close enough. 3 weeks until The Force Awakens hits theaters. Man, dude, I'm so excited. There's never been a better time to be a Star Wars fan.
See, for you and I, if it's 21 days for everyone else, for you and I, it's 20 days because we're going to get to watch it on the 17th. That's something that while I was chatting with the good listeners in the chat pre-show, I was having a ponder about the audiobook because I was saving my December 9th credit from audible.com for the Star Wars Force Awakens audiobook. And I was like, well, should I listen to the audiobook before I watch it? And then I was like, oh, wait, the audiobook comes out on the 18th. I'm watching it on the 17th. It's a moot point. So, yeah. I'll be interested, though, if anybody out there actually does listen to the audiobook before and how it impacts or does not impact their viewing experience.
Evidently, JJ doesn't want you to listen to the audiobook beforehand, which is why both it and the novelization don't come out until day and day of. And then even like the hardback version doesn't come out until a little bit later.
Yeah, it's a whole month later.
Oh, good grief. That's crazy. I want to do a couple things right here at the front of the show, man, to talk about. Of course, we've been talking about it here, but it's really been top of mind because it's been me every week, every day of the week. Recording Star Wars Tonight. We are rolling through, just capped off, or at least tonight, rather. We're capping off the second week, full week of shows of Star Wars Tonight. If you're not aware, if you're hearing about it for the first time, or if you kind of heard it last week and forgot about it, go to iTunes and subscribe. Star Wars Tonight is your nightly countdown podcast to The Force Awakens with daily podcasts, Monday through Thursday, released on iTunes. We are burning up the charts, Mark. We are my I have my Sir, are you sure you can hit the front page of iTunes even with a computer? It's just like
It's not like
no
shooting womp rats, kid,
Exact-
but we can do it.
Exactly. So by all means, jump on the Star Wars Tonight train. I've been super pleased with how the podcast went and has been going, and we've got a great lineup of folks who are on the air every evening, and we are doing it every evening at about 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes Thursdays are closer to 4, but we are doing it every evening, and the important thing is to remember we are live with video on StarWarsReport.com/live. Of course, that's a big part of this this new setup I'm working with. I'm broadcasting with Twitch. Having a lot of fun with Twitch, by the way, Mark. It's a pretty cool broadcasting system. I'm still working out the technical kinks, but I do like it a lot. Me and Bethany were just doing a little informal live stream of us watching Attack of the Clones with a couple of folks last night, and we're going to be doing that with more of the movies, and then who knows, maybe some of the video games. We're going to be using
I know.
our live page a lot more, so always stay tuned. StarWarsReport.com/live is going to be your home for live video content from us here at the Star Wars Report. So I'm just super excited about it, man.
Yeah, and I honestly, the more and more I think about it, doing the StarWarsReport.com live was probably the smartest decision you and I could have come up with, because while we've got these different accounts and stuff, like I'm getting, I'm doing Twitch now too, but when I'm doing stuff, we'll be able to still broadcast it on that page, and it won't matter if it's coming from my feed or your feed. You'll be able to go to that one place to get to it, and that's a really cool option, considering we've got so many different hosts doing different things. And as this technology,
and the thing is, Mark,
proves to be something worth it,
because like if you ever wanted to do something from beyond the films, you could do the Mark Hurlman account and then just embed that in the page. So just whatever we're doing, we're going to be doing it at StarWarsReport.com/live. So. It's it's
and Nathan, he's doing similar with PlayStation 4, which I'm hoping to get a PlayStation 4 here in the next 2 months or so. And its streaming capabilities are pretty cool and pretty interesting, man. Technology's come a long way in the last 3 years.
That it has, man. It's just an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan, and I'm really using the excuse and excitement that this film is bringing as an excuse to take my own creative work to the next level. It's not sustainable. For sure, but this daily content thing, Mark, it's a challenge, but it puts me directly in touch with my Star Wars fandom every day in a way that doesn't happen unless you're at something like a Star Wars celebration. By the way, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm just noticing everyone coming in here on the Twitch chat, so hello. But yeah, no, it's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan for sure.
Now, it's one of those things. I'm going back and forth with, different members of my life. They're asking me about, are you excited about this? And I'm like, man, I'm so nervous right now and so excited at the same time. And I've kind of like checked out of doing as much as you're doing. So it's interesting for me. It's like, I'm like so scared that I'm afraid to even go there right now.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, we don't have a lot of time tonight because I have an appointment, Mark, shortly in about 25 minutes. To join Bethany, Teresa, and Trisha for our annual Hunger Games movie review. So we're going to get straight into the news.
We have something to report. Come closer, I have good news.
Data brought to us by the Bothan spies.
You can send a clear transmission.
There it is. Listen.
I'm going to bring it right here at the top of the show. Mark, no guilt or pressure, but have you had much of a chance to catch Star Wars Tonight on air?
I haven't caught any live yet. Well, aside from last Friday.
But have you had a chance to kind of get a feel for the show?
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to listen to a couple now.
Okay.
I'm really digging it. It's I like the idea of it.
Well, the reason is
the question is can we continue this with each movie? Like do a 30-day countdown or something for each one?
I'm telling you, man, it's probably. I mean, if it's this much fun, probably yes. But the reason I do have a specific reason for asking here in the news segment, because the first piece of news that we have that we can talk about here is the Pentatonics tribute to John Williams that was just recently performed on the American Music Awards. What's funny, Mark, is that we did talk about this on Star Wars Tonight. It was me and Steve this past week. And we both gave our kind of honest gut reactions of saying, man, this is awfully trendy. Like, this is awfully... It just doesn't feel quite like John Williams. You know, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It seems a little bit overkill, but it just goes to show you the era of Star Wars that we live in, where it's so plugged into every aspect of our culture. I mean, it's everywhere, man. It's on this. That's cover girl makeup. It's on
Yeah.
the Google platform is transforming your Chrome account with Star Wars extensions. You've got
Dude, Golden Books. Golden Books has Star Wars edition of children's books. I'm like, that
you got a
blows my mind.
freaking Best Buy, and to go to check out, there's this giant wall of Star Wars memorabilia. You walk through a veritable archway of BB-8s by Sphero just to check out, and it's like, what universe do I live in here? But it just kind of, I think that's an example of it. Mark, did you get a chance to see it?
See, I watched it this morning. My wife actually, she was excited to show it to me. My daughter's a huge Pentatonics fan.
Okay.
And
So you fall on
for her, my wife's like, you both got to come in and watch this. And for me, like, I got goosebumps. I really like a cappella groups. Peter Holland does a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff and
Yes, he's
other
good.
genres and stuff. I really dig his work. There's some others out there that their names escape me, but I'm just a huge fan of that style, especially when they do it really, right. And I guess I gotta kind of agree with you, because while it was presented as, hey, John Williams, he does all this great music and all this stuff, and they're gonna be here with
Well, let's be
the
honest,
orchestra
Mark.
and stuff. It didn't feel like it was them showcasing him
It
so
was-
much as, well, hey, by the way, we got this really hip and popular band that's doing a lot of really cool things right now, and guess what they're going to be doing with John Williams. So it was like a really cool moment, and it was a really cool song. Don't get me wrong, I got a lot of goosebumps out of it. I really dug it a lot, but I didn't think about it like that until just now when you were talking about you and Steve watching, because I did miss that episode. So
Well,
yeah, I would have to agree with the aspect of it was a definite trendy move.
yeah, and you're going to see a lot of these kinds of tie-ins for Star Wars. It's just the nature of the beast now in the world that we live in. But I kind of feel like we were a little too negative on Star Wars tonight, because we were on a little bit of a negative roll. Actually, I'm not going to lie. But I will say this: while it may feel trendy, like I was listening to Star Wars Oxygen, their most recent episode this week, and they were gushing about how cool it was and very innovative and something you don't get to hear very often. And I'm like, but it's not. The moment was, and I'll say it right here as I did on Star Wars Tonight. The moment that you really felt the trendy aspect, Mark, is where you hear, instead of the actual cymbal clashing at the end of the end credits type of deal, where it's like da 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 dun da 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 dun. Psh. That's exactly what you heard.
Yeah.
You didn't hear the actual cymbal crash.
No,
You heard dun.
I heard the one guy, there was one
The
cymbal
beatboxer.
crash at the very end of it. Like the cymbal guy actually got to do his part, but the
Exactly.
pentatonics guy got to do it all. I did catch that. I jumped in on that. I was like, oh, hey, that's that guy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, but that's the nature of it. It's just the
Well-
world of living in our reality of Disney marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, we could, as a collective community here, we could get irritated about everything being flooded and oversaturated in Star Wars right now, but this will pass. I mean, yeah, we have Disney films coming out every year, and there will be a certain level of hype going with it. But the oversaturation of absolutely everything Star Wars, it'll eventually die down to your Mickey memorabilia. It won't be on absolutely everything like it is right
I
now.
do feel like this
And
is.
that's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, that's just the nature of where we're at. I mean, it will eventually shift and move forward into a different direction. It'll transform, but it won't be as in depth as it is at this moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I do feel like, Mark, there is I get a feeling that this marketing is unique in that I don't think the saturation of every aspect of our culture that is really just getting in on this whole Star Wars hype thing. I get the feeling that this is something that's unique to The Force Awakens. I don't think we're going to get this for Rogue One or Episode 8. Certainly excitement, but not to the extent that we are now. And I'll give you a good example, man. So I did something I haven't done in years, Mark. I went to a Best Buy on Black Friday. Didn't end up buying
Uh-oh.
anything or any of the deals. I got a mouse because mine broke, And then I literally just perused all the shelves, realizing that all the deals were long gone. But hey, at least most of the people were long gone too, because it was like 6 o'clock in the evening when I was there. What's funny
Now,
is
that a store that's normally closed though?
what, Best Buy?
Yeah, were they normally closed around those hours, or do they stay open late?
No. I mean, this was tonight, so I mean, they usually close. That's the hours they normally keep. Although I think they were
Okay.
open I think they were open all night last night for Black Friday stuff. But my point being is I'm looking around for solutions with this new Twitch broadcasting system. I'm looking at different ideas for how to get some different external monitors going, that sort of thing, for my home studio. And I'm talking to the guy there, and he's like, "Well, what do you want the extra monitors for? You broadcast and stuff?" I'm like, yeah, I'm trying out this Twitch thing. I'm getting pretty used to it. And he's like, he takes that extra step. He's like, what you broadcasting, man? And I'm like, well, this will really surprise you, I say, looking at him and him seeing my Darth Vader t-shirt, of which I'm wearing right now. Watch the video version on YouTube. And I'm like, this is going to shock you, man. But I'm actually, I broadcast about Star Wars stuff. It's like, oh, nice. No way, man. Which just cracked me up, because there was this moment. There's this moment of connection, right? There's this moment where you just suddenly understand our reality, and that we can be Star Wars friends now. It has gone beyond advice on what sort of adapters I can buy for an external display on my laptop, and two, man, but wasn't that one scene in Empire Strikes Back really cool, man? So this is what we're seeing.
Oh, that's great. See, my daughter has a teacher that listens to one of my shows, and
yeah?
my daughter hasn't figured out which show it is. But I think of all the different ones I'm on the Star Wars Report website, it's got to be this one. I mean, this one really appeals to the broad range of our fandom.
Probably. So and then he goes on to say, so is there I'm a big fan. In anything I think I should read or anything before the movie comes out? Like, have there been any books out? Because I know the old canon's not there, but haven't there been some new stuff that you could read before the movie comes out? And I just looked at him straight in the face and I said, man, don't read a thing or watch a thing. Just know as little as possible and walk into that movie theater and have a great time. And we had a moment, Mark. We had a moment. That's what I'm trying to say.
And that's not wrong advice. I mean, Nathan, he's going through the marathon of material that's out leading up to it. And while I salute him for that, that's a daunting task, man. I kind of think that there is that aspect of the less you know.
Exactly. Before we move on, I want to, because I might forget, Mark, if you don't mind. I think it's in the chat here. I don't actually have the ability to access the Skype chat. But I do want to throw out a mention to something that Bethany was mentioning on the Star Wars Report blog. The good folks over at Waze reached out to us, the GPS app, or as I call it, the Die Hard through Los Angeles app. Because from people, if you want to feel like you're in a Die Hard movie, you just use the Waze app during traffic hours in LA. That's what I hear. Because basically, you just drive along, and it just takes you through all the back roads, exactly where you need to go, because it's basically a crowdsourced GPS. And they're doing a Star Wars thing, so they reached out to us to promote it, and it's really cool, actually. They have a C-3PO guided GPS layover it has like the First Order TIE fighters and all other kinds of cool stuff. So if you want to check it out, you want to go to starwarsreport.com/Waze. Is that correct? I believe so. I'll double check it as well. But starwarsreport.com/Waze, and that'll take you to a blog post where you can read about it. And hey, if you're interested, throw out a tweet and say, hey, heard about this Waze thing.
I had to retweet that for Beyond the Films. I was like, that's just too cool.
Nice. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So we got a few more minutes for a couple more stories here. So we'll just run through these rapid fire, Mark, if that sounds good to you.
Sounds like a plan.
The next one I want to talk about is I thought about see, here's the thing.
Well, okay, you already hinted about it. The other ones you haven't. You have to tell us why you realized, and you didn't tell us this part. You talked about Sabine, but the real weird part is why you don't like Sabine. And I saw that, and I almost felt a little slapped. I was like, I've got a crush on Sabine. I'm a Ezra and Sabine shipper over here. So I'm like, wait, you don't like Sabine? Like that's like for me, that's like hearing like you hate the Millennium Falcon. Like how is that possible? She wears Mando armor, man. That's the story everyone's dying to know. Why do you not like Sabine?
Well, and I put it in the notes, and I'm kind of terrified. I'm not gonna lie because I know she seems to be either really popular, but I understand I've gotten some support from it actually of people who agree. Shoot us an email, starwarsreport@gmail.com, and see what you think. I was watching the most recent episode of Star Wars Rebels, and I actually posted a little video about this on Facebook, Mark, and it was kind of a moment that just reminded me of something, and it was like when they're hunting around for their contact. It's Ezra and Sabine, and Ezra sits on top of this gonk droid, and he says they've been repeating the passcode word, and they're waiting for their contact to appear. And then he says it again, and then the gonk droid wakes up suddenly once the passcode is spoken, thus telling the audience that the passcode has been heard and received. Wouldn't you agree, Mark? Like the prompt standing up of the gonk droid rather comedically because Ezra is sitting on top of it, that's when you know. Now, that's not enough for Star Wars Rebels. They do something that they've been doing since Episode 3 of the Clone Wars, and that is they have to take that extra dialogue step where an in-universe character will then repeat in dialogue what we just saw happen. So, I feel like what I should have done while I was talking about all this is I'm going to go to facebook.com/Star Wars Report. This is where you can see these types of videos that Riley promptly posts, because I knew the second I would post it that there'd be a lot of defenders, and there are a lot of defenders.
Now I saw that, and that okay. So now that I know the context of this, I almost have to question. Then is it not that you don't like Sabine, but you don't like the choice of script words that they put into her mouth? Because it brought up a debate about the angles of, is Rebels aimed for kids or not? Because, or at least that was the argument a lot of people came when they were coming to defending it. It was like, well, it's aimed for 6-year-olds, and 6-year-olds don't always catch on to these things. So this is for them, the layman's terms, the most obvious being spoken out again for them.
Well,
and I point out to that real quick is that if this is a kid show specifically aimed for 7-year-olds, why is it set at 9:30 at night on a weeknight, on a school night?
Yeah, let me.
I truly believe that Star Wars has been for a long time aimed at a wide range. There is no specifics.
let me cue this video real quick so that we can have some context for what we're talking about. Here we go.
Okay, so there's this writing device
a little
that's
bit, just so that you don't have to hear my whole preamble, because I kind of already
really seems like it's dumbing it down for the audience. And I understand that when it comes to Star Wars on time, we're doing, we're not necessarily doing something that's supposed to be film quality in terms of writing dialogue, which is not saying a lot in terms of Star Wars. But Bethany, if you would, I'd like you to cue this episode of Star Wars Rebels where we're on the hunt with a code word for a rendezvous individual that Sabine and Ezra are supposed to rendezvous with.
Here we go.
Let's take a look. Take a look. Here we go.
Are you sure you were saying the code phrase right?
Yes. It's a long way to Alderaan. What's the matter with this thing?
Wait a minute. That is the courier.
Wait a minute.
We know Sabine.
We know.
We know.
Yeah. So as I say in the video, we know Sabine. So that's a dialogue moment, and that's fair enough to say that's something that's not just done with Sabine. Padme does it in the Clone Wars, where there's a giant separatist ship that jumps out of hyperspace in the viewport of the Nubian cruiser, that we all remember from Episode 1, and she literally looks up. And this is, I forget, I think this was one of the Malevolence. Yeah, it was like the Malevolence trilogy, and she's like, It's a separatist warship. We're in the middle of a battle, right? And it's just like, We know, Padme. We know. It's a separatist warship.
Or Obi-Wan in episode 1, but at
For
least
the
that
love
one
of
kind of makes sense because no one's supposed to know. Look, sir, destroyers.
Looks. Well, that's true. See now you're showing. What are some examples, Mark? I need some examples of dialogue that's just repeating the obvious, because it's not new to Star Wars, but man, it gets my goat. I am not a fan when we see something obvious happen and then a character repeats the fact that it just happened. It's very much, it's like network television when they give you a summary of what happened just before they went to the break, but you're watching it on Netflix and you're like, I don't need this summary again.
I think 3PO does it a lot,
That's
and I think
true.
anytime you've got Chewie having to be deciphered, those are pretty obvious times. But most of the ones I'm thinking about are kind of like you almost do need them there. I mean, because like with the destroyer droids, like at the time that came out, it was a new era, first film. Nobody had really seen a destroyer droid. We didn't know what they were called. Although now when you're watching, it's like, oh, well, it's a destroyer droid. I've seen those on the clone. I mean, like there's enough material out there now that you would recognize that. But at that time, that wasn't necessarily the case.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that being the case. So I say all that to say that's.
But you
not
got 3PO going on about the pit with the carbonite, though. You'll be safe for sure in there.
Oh man, see that's true. Oh, see now it's getting, well, maybe it's a double standard. Maybe I'm just not being forgiving enough. But the other thing is Sabine, I think, is very much a caricature of what's popular in Star Wars, and I don't really see much depth of her character. And the main thing that this is like the short version. The main thing, if I were just to pick one thing about Sabine that I think is just poor characterization, is how much of a bit of a comedic beat that they lean on. It's a kind of a more of a comedic crutch, actually, is what I describe it as. When Sabine constantly pokes at and makes fun of Ezra, and Ezra's always constantly trying to impress her, and she's always shutting him down. And it's a dynamic that's very un-Star Warsy. It's not.
Oh, dude, it's
like something
shipper. Dude, she's flirting with him hardcore.
Exactly.
That's what
but
that
that's something
is.
I don't want to see Disney Channel style. Wait, I guess this is airing on a Disney Channel style flirting on a Star Wars
But
show.
think about it like this, okay? So he's Aladdin and she's Jasmine.
Let me
I mean,
tell-
okay, Chopper is the carpet.
Listen. Hey, I don't know who I'm saying listen to, but somebody listen. When it comes to the world of Star Wars, when it comes to the Star Wars, there's one example of well-executed romance when it comes to the tension, when it comes to the smoldering eyes, when it comes to the attraction, the raw attraction, and the verbose back and forth, and that is Han and Leia from Empire Strikes Back. My hands are dirty.
You could use a good kiss.
My hands are dirty. My hands are dirty too. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that line. I almost choked.
My hands are dirty too. Wow. Well, I think we got time for one more story here. So we're going to, Mark, take your pick. We got the Force Awakens latest TV spot. We've got the Empire magazine covers. We've got the Saturday Night Live casting session. And we've got the final mix on the Star Wars. Take your pick, sir.
All right. Well, we've seen a lot of TV spots, and there is potential that I may have seen these for. Either way, we know that I've likened them to crack, and I have an addiction to these dang things. So let's avoid that and pretend that I'm going to, no spoilers anonymous. Let's go with the Emma Stone and Maggie Smith's Lost Star Wars editions, because I've seen that story, but I actually didn't watch the videos. So that'll be something we can.
The best part is that the very end. So I'm actually gonna let me click on it here, and I'm gonna open the tab. So this kind of goes back to the whole Star Wars marketing being everywhere, but the SNL actors did a series of sketches of modern popular movie stars auditioning for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Mark, this should sound familiar to you because of the famous SNL sketch from, I want to say, the 80s, when they did the very same sketch, but just for the original trilogy era. So they used, what's his face? All the actors of the time are, of course, blanking in my head. But, like, they used Christopher
Ford,
Walken as an example.
Yeah, those ones.
Remember that?
Oh God, those are the walking ones are hilarious. Chewie here, the way he does it.
Well, they do. What's funny is that they literally. This is the
You've
same.
never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
You've never. I can't do it. But take a listen to this real quick.
I'm J.J. Abrams.
Hello, I'm J.J. Abrams.
When it was
Oh, wait. Buffering a little bit. So you have J.J.
Announced in
Abrams,
2013.
who's going to do the introduction to this segment.
that I would be directing a new Star Wars film, I immediately went to work looking to cast the next generation of heroes. And now, a month out from the film's release, I thought it might be fun to show you some of the never-before-seen screen tests. Please enjoy.
Chemistry test with Sofia Vergara and Daisy Ridley.
Hurry, the ship's leaving.
Yes! We need to go to space! Is this for the little minions?
What?
I love minions! The little yellow guy. They're so funny you can't understand nothing they say.
Shaquille O'Neal.
What's funny is but that's not the best part. What you need to hear, well, of course, that's all right. But what you really have to hear is John Boyega, because they actually have Daisy Ridley standing there. But take a listen to this. This is John Boyega.
Boyega testing for Finn.
A black stormtrooper. Yeah, right.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. So I just watched the Jimmy Kimmel Star Wars special,
Oh,
and them.
yeah.
Oh man,
So good.
We've talked before about the energy of him and Daisy Ridley, and my mom was watching this, and she's like, "And who are these guys?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's the stormtrooper, and she's the the questionable. Is she a Solo or is she a Skywalker? We don't know. They haven't told us their names." And oh man, like when he was talking about his dad going, "Oh, that's great. What is Star Wars?" And I was just laughing so hard, like the way that they talk about everything and the passion that they have.
It's so true.
And the
the
newness to it all is just great.
And the great bit of you've got what was it? I'm trying to remember. The Harrison Ford bit where it was his reuniting with Chewbacca after their sordid, because of Chewbacca's torrid affair, evidently.
And that's like a running joke between Harrison and the Wookiee.
Oh yeah. Oh, you better believe it. Well, folks, that's going to put this episode of Star Wars. I almost did it, Mark. I almost called it Star Wars tonight. That's going to put this episode of the Star Wars Report podcast in the wraps. A couple things I want you guys, if you're listening to this episode, to do. Like right now. Right now. And that is, leave us a rating and review in iTunes. You can go to StarWarsReport.com/iTunes. And then go subscribe also to Star Wars Tonight. Enjoy us on our nightly podcast. It's a great time. It's an amazing time. So, wow, Mark, thanks so much for coming on. It's been another great week of Star Wars news, great discussions to be had, and so much more to talk about it. But we'll be right back here next week.
Amen. And remember, you can get that app at www.starwarsreport.com/WAZEGPS.
Yes, thank you. No, actually, I saw that. It's Waze GPS altogether. I'm glad I got that URL wrong initially, which I thought might happen. And what's funny is Bethany was sending it to me in the Skype chat, which I can't use because I'm broadcasting via video and it's full screen. But I just keep getting the notifications of it coming up and over again in Skype. I'm like, no, I can't see it. But we know now. It's StarWarsReport.com/WazeGPS. That's what you're looking for. Folks, follow us on Twitter. I am at The Riley Guy. You can follow Mark on Twitter. It is at IllogicalRogue2. As well as the show, Star Wars Report. Trucking along towards 20,000 followers on Twitter. So join us. Join us. He will join us or die. Wait, no. Well, no. I got really way too serious all of a sudden. And as always, you can subscribe to the Star Wars Report YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/user/Star Wars Report, you can see our channel where we will be uploading video excerpts and sometimes whole episodes of this program, of Star Wars Tonight, all kinds of video content coming to the Star Wars Report YouTube page. That's going to put the wraps on this episode. Remember, you can email us starsreport@gmail.com. Go to facebook.com/Star Wars Report. And last but not least, we want you to remember, if you forget everything else, if you become far too enamored with the Saturday Night Live Star Wars skits, if you forget just how weird pentatonic singing Star Wars is, if you suddenly realize that Sabine is kind of a jerk all the time, if you want to talk about any of these things, then this is the place you want to do it. It's Star Wars Report. And remember, many Bothans died to bring you this podcast.
This just insert Boston Agent Keyfree. He died, but the data packet did make it in, as reported.
We got Boston Agent Roy Smith. Roy Smith is down. Roy Smith is down. I don't know why the Boston Agent is suddenly Roy Smith, but that's a thing. It's a thing.
Well, it's actually spelled YROWX, but don't explain Boston language.
Hey, thanks to everybody who tuned in to the podcast. Let me go ahead and hit stop on the recorder. And again, thanks to everybody who's watching the video version on YouTube, which I will now stop the video recorder. See you guys on YouTube later. There we are.